In his 25th year, Don Shula has the Dolphins in playoff contention again. Miami's chances rest on the arm of Dan Marino, the league's number 3 rated quarterback. Number 1 earlier in the year, Marino was shut out by Buffalo, ending his streak of games with at least 1 touchdown pass at 30 straight. That demoralizing 27-0 loss dropped the Dolphins under 500, and most people wrote them off for the year. But this season, the playoff picture is crowded. Consecutive wins over the Jets and the Eagles as Marino caught fire again, has Miami right back in the division title chase. And they have a history of finishing strong. Any talk of comebacks has to include Jay Schrader with a history of great fourth quarters. But earlier this season, Schrader returned from an injury and had trouble connecting, even with wide-open receivers. And he was benched in favor of veteran Doug Williams. He was outstanding as a starter and reliever. But when Joe Gibbs again went with Schrader, it hurt Williams' pride.
You know, football is a short stop, and, you know, a lot of things you go through. You know, just kind of deal with it.
But Williams is a pro, and he'll be ready if he's needed tonight in relief of Schrader.
Florida, where the Miami Dolphins at 7-6 will face the 10-3 Washington Redskins. For the Dolphins, the chances of winning the AFC East come down to this. They have to win it tonight, they have to win it next week against New England, and they have to hope that the Colts will lose next week against Tampa Bay. In the NFC, the top 4 teams are in. The last 3 are fighting for that remaining wild card spot. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick, and it's great to have you with us for the Dolphins and the Redskins on ESPN. As always, it's a pleasure to be working with Roy Firestone. And Roy, the Redskins are 10-3. They have the second best record in football, but that's not enough for the critics.
Mike, I think the 10-3 record for the Redskins is about as suspicious as an Ivan Boesky stock tip. I mean, the Redskins have only beaten one team with a winning record all year. They were 3-0 in the replacement games, which give them a big cushion. But then they lost to teams like the Eagles, Atlanta, the Rams. They trailed to Detroit. They struggled with the Jets and Cowboys. This is one Skins game that doesn't have an ace in the hole, I'm afraid. George Rogers was vilified a little bit this week for his inability to run inside. Ex-Skin John Riggins implied that Sunday in the Park with George is no longer the hit show in Washington. In fact, 2 weeks ago, the Redskins' top rusher was a guy named Vitale. Not Dick Vitale, although the way he ran it might as well have been Dick Vitale. Then Jay Schrader. Well, he has endured the criticisms and the inconsistency. The fans in Washington all over him. They're about as hospitable to him as Bobby Knight was to the Russian basketball team. On defense, Man and Manly. Will they manhandle the new, not ready for primetime players in the Dolphins' offensive line? We'll find out for Dolphin fans if that offensive line is offensive tonight.
Well, they do have terrible problems, especially with all the injuries on that offensive line. And our guest analyst tonight knows all about offensive lines because he ran behind a great one here in Miami. Don Shula called on him time and time again to get the tough yards. Their blocking and his running put Larry Zonka in the Hall of Fame. It's great to have you back with us as our guest analyst on ESPN.
Well, thank you, Mike. And I'm kind of wondering about John Sandusky tonight, the offensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins. He's provided us with a lot of magic over the last few years, but the question is, can he do it tonight? Because in the last 2 weeks, he's lost 2 of his offensive starters. 2 weeks ago against the Jets, Dwight Stevenson, number 57, the offensive center and team captain, went down with a leg injury and is out for the year. And last week against Philly, Ronnie Lee went down as starting offensive right tackle. So the big question tonight will be whether number 74, Mark Dennis, filling in for the injured Ron Lee, will be able to contain one Charles Mann. Because Mann has simply been burning up the track defensively for the past few weeks. All in all, folks, things could get a little bleak for the Dolphins' offensive line tonight.
Now, as far as the Dolphins' defense is concerned, last couple of weeks they have played better, but you would think they would have to move up even higher against the Redskins.
Well, they're going to need everything tonight. But the last couple of weeks have really been sparked by 2 rookies coming into play. Number 58, Rick Graff, and number 97, John Boza. These 2 rookies have come in with renewed enthusiasm, and if they can do that again tonight, I think we'll have a very interesting game.
Don Shula on the sideline with a rare smile that you will see before a ball game. He gets rather wrapped up tightly in this contest. And why not? In his 25th year, second all-time in wins. But Joe Gibbs, in his 7th year with the Redskins, is number 1 in winning percentage, counting the playoffs among all active coaches. And that is a great tribute to not only Joe Gibbs, but the staff of assistants that he was able to hire when he came to Washington. From Miami, it is delightful. 74 degrees, a slight breeze. It is humid, but only a 10% chance of rain tonight. And Larry, at 74 degrees and 79% humidity, will conditioning be a factor in the fourth quarter?
Well, I think any time any team comes down to Miami this late in the season, conditioning is a factor because it's always much warmer down here than it is up north. Where we'll be able to tell for sure is in the fourth quarter in the long run.
Fred Wyant, the referee, supervising the coin toss. Wyant, a former quarterback at West Virginia. Miami wins the toss, and the Dolphins will receive to start the ball game. Roy, this game, with all the other games being finished today, has taken on added significance for Miami. They now know they have to win this, no question about it.
They really, though, have felt in control of their own destiny. I mean, leave it at this. We have to win, period. We can't worry about the other guys. In fact, the players all week are telling we don't even think playoffs at this point, really. We're thinking win one and then win the other one and let the chips fall where they may.
The Redskins, on the other hand, where does their incentive come from?
I think basically they want to maintain their consistency, if there has been any. They want to put two halves together. They haven't done it this year. Maybe the Buffalo game, their best performance all year long. Aside from that, they've had a half here, a half there. They've got to play a consistent football game.
Of course, coaches, Larry, basically greedy. They want two wonderful halves of football every time out. 10-3 is nothing to laugh at.
Absolutely not. Matter of fact, this is one of the most poorly talked about 10-3 teams I've ever run across. It seems
really
like it's almost 3-10 when I read the press about them.
That's right. Lorenzo Hampton and Scott Schwades are deep to receive, standing on the goal line. Ali Haji Sheikh will kick off for the Washington Redskins, set to go from beautiful Joe Robbie Stadium in South Florida. Sheikh has done a fine job for the Skins, replacing Jess Atkinson, who was hurt early in the year. And Schwades tells Hampton to stay in the end zone, and Miami will start from its own 20-yard line. Dan Marino, the best pure passer in football. #1 all-time in the NFL's rating system. He leads the league in touchdown passes this year with 22. Mark Clayton is the big play threat right now in the league's third best producing offense. He had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. The line is so banged up they had only 5 people left who could play last week. Pro Bowler Roy Foster is one of the healthy ones. Woody Bennett starting at fullback, and Troy Stratford remaining back in three. Marino to Stratford. 40, 45, 47-yard line. 28-yard gain, and how much has Stratford added to this offense?
Particularly coming out of the backfield, gives a tremendous dimension that may not have even been there a year ago. The back catching out of the backfield.
Well, with the defensive corners that Washington has, you're going to see this happen. They're going to be going to the offensive backs. Looks like they're going very successful. Stratford's a load when he gets downfield like that. I wish he'd get his shoulder down a little more before contact, though.
Rookie out of Boston College, 4th-round draft choice. Turns out to be a steal for Don Shula. Too high for Stratford, again coming out of the backfield. Skins defense has been tough against the run this year. Charles Mann having a Pro Bowl season. He leads the linemen in tackles and sacks. The linebacking is solid. And after an injury-filled career, Monty Coleman is getting a chance to show what he can do. He is #2 in tackles on this team. The secondary, extremely young but talented third-year corner Barry Wilburn now leads the league with 7 pass interceptions. 2nd and 10 for Marino. Clayton DUPER'S wide receiver. Stratford got to midfield, brought down by Rich Malott and Monty Coleman.
Well, if you pay attention to that, what was designed was it looked like a dive play over the right side, but the blocking wasn't there, and you saw how Stratford immediately went back to his seasoned All-Pro when he saw trouble. He bent it back to the left, looking for Foster, knowing that there would be something there that he could at least get back to the line of scrimmage.
Sure, he knows Foster. He doesn't know those other guys in there now.
You go to the old guys when it gets stormy.
Redskins go with 5 defensive backs against 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 7. Jim Jensen, number 11 in the ballgame. They like to throw to him coming in the backfield. He's in a block this time. And Marino through the hands of Mark Duper. Gerald Green on the coverage, but a catchable ball.
You don't see that happen very often when Duper has it in his hands like that and lets it drop. I guess it didn't really drop. It just sort of bounced off his hands. It looked like he had palms up, and it just bounced off his hands like a flat rock on a frozen pond.
Reggie Roby will come in to punt on 4th and 7. Deep to receive Eric Yarber, averaging 7.7 yards a return. The Redskins special teams have been a problem in the middle of the season. They think they're getting better now as they wind down toward the playoffs. Roby is having a great second half of the year. This one goes straight up, very short. And Yarber was run over by one of his own men.
He wasn't run over, he was flattened by one of his own men.
A 44-yard punt, 20 yards of it rolled. 13:02 to go first quarter. We're scoreless. 2nd and 8. Marino with good time, throws complete to Clayton. Clayton stays on his feet, finally driven out of bounds at the Redskin 32-yard line. 25-yard gain.
Mark Clayton told us yesterday he's going to have a big game. He wants to make the Pro Bowl. He said, fellas, you pay attention tomorrow night, meaning tonight.
There he is, driving him off and taking advantage of the outside, just like David Shula talked about early on in the week. They're going to take that outside deep if they'll give it up.
Alvin Walton and Todd Bowles, the safeties, knocked him out of bounds. Very young Redskins secondary. Darrell Green in his 5th year as the veteran back there. Or Joe Jacoby. And an off year last year, slightly embarrassed in a game against the New York Giants. Lawrence Taylor ate him up, but he has come back and playing Pro Bowl caliber ball again. Although I don't think this year he is back to what he was 2 years ago.
Well, I don't think the Hogs are the Hogs they once were either.
They don't even call them that anymore.
That's right. They really have had problems on the offensive line. That is fundamentally the problem with their running attack, I think, the offensive line.
A lot of injuries.
Yep.
1st and 10 Miami. The Dolphins have thrown on first down the 2 previous times. Make it 3. Marino airs this one out. Duper, what a catch! Duper against Darrell Green. Todd Bowles coming over from the safety trying to give him some help. Oh, what a sensational catch!
Well, early in the week, David Shula said that they were going to use their wideouts. I asked him about it because the defensive corners are so good for the Redskins. Right here, Duper's working against the corner that's probably the fastest man in the NFL. He makes the play. He goes to the outside, falls down, but still makes the catch. That gives you an indication of how well he had the man beat.
And Darrell Green has been beatable in recent weeks, too.
That's hung out there by himself a lot.
One-on-one on Duper on the outside is a lonely job.
1st and 10 from the Washington 20. Marino looking that way. Darrell Green that time had Duper covered perfectly, even had inside position.
Surprised that the Dolphins seem undaunted, throwing a lot, even with this inexperienced offensive line.
Yeah, but you got to look at it. It's like David Shula, the coordinator, said. They're going to go to their wideouts, but they're going to go to them on the outside
Short
the
stuff.
sideline. Well, not necessarily short, but not necessarily deep either. They're going to take what they can get to the outside because they know that middle's guarded. If you watch that free safety number 23 is roaming in that middle looking.
Marino had his 25th 300-yard game last week. That time, Sonny Jurgensen for 3rd all-time. Marino's still a child in NFL terms. Now in the basketball season, but football not yet over, and neither are the Dolphins' chances to make the playoffs. Mark Duper
Duper coming right at you. This guy had a rib problem early, maybe 3-4 weeks ago, right around the Dallas game. In fact, he had just come back to the Dallas game. Cartilage separation of his ribs, taking shots over the middle. Refused to take the needle. Didn't want to take the needle to play football, the painkiller. But he's healthy now, and you see it right there.
Manley may have been offsides, and was. Clayton got away from Wilbur. And up to the 40. First down, Miami. 16-yard gain. Dexter gets off the line of scrimmage with that pass rush as fast as anyone in football. Sometimes he gets off a little early and did that now.
Marino's developing a case of nervous feet in there because those fellas are getting so close to him.
He had plenty of time to draw on the play before those on, but still underthrew it.
Marino within reasonable distance of a 300-yard gain, however, in this game, 13-25 1. Pretty fast that time, caught by Duper, look out! Touchdown, Dolphins! He wouldn't have gotten out. Reves for the point after. Makes it a 2-point ball game. Here's the way Moreno saw his second touchdown pass to Mark Duper. A 2-point lead for Miami, 13-29. Back on top by 5. One more time, George Rodman. $5,000 to George, and he gets paid dirt. Don Bro and Joe Gibbs over on the sideline. Gibbs would not be dragged into the John Riggins George Rogers controversy. Didn't want any part of it. He does not like to speak ill of current or former Redskins or whatever they say. And that's the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise out of Pompano Beach, Florida, helping us cover the game here tonight. Well, all the pressure shifts back to Miami. 6:17 to go in what could be their season. They cannot lose and still have a chance to make the playoffs.
6:17, of course, plenty of time as you look at George Rogers, but you wonder maybe this is their final series. You never know the way the football's been going tonight. There's Bud Brown. Wonder what he's thinking, Don.
Not real happy with referees, I can promise you that.
I still think the play in question is still that catchable ball controversy. That turned the whole series around.
Of course, the Redskins also had that drop touchdown pass, which would have given them another 7 points. You can always point to a few plays during the game. Hampton, 6-yard deep. He's had a couple of pretty good kickoffs tonight, including a long field goal.
It's important to kick that ball downtown. You know, it's not Garrow. That was one of Garrow's problems. He kept kicking it short. And that was one of the reasons he was cut from the Dolphins.
And Bud Brown leaving the sideline to go to the Miami locker room. Said Haji Sheik had a long field goal. That was Quad Reves from Miami that had a long field goal. 6-11. You're hard to think of having anybody else back there that you want to conduct the last 6 minutes. Marino with a great recognition in the arm and the release.
Got to watch the interception.
Dropped by Duper. Then play. Darrell Green dropped off about 10 yards, so Duper was wide open.
Duper sets it up and makes the cut. The ball's there. What can you say about it? guess anybody could catch that ball.
Not me.
Second and 10. Miami loses this ball game. They are out of the playoffs. Monty Coleman on the outside showing blitz. Doesn't come, however. Marino to Duper. Darrell Green. Fine job. Got inside, reached out the right hand, and batted the ball away.
Green, good coverage on this play. Two-time Pro Bowl player out of the Frank Minifield School. Mini being the operative prefix, I think. Little guy, but he gets to the ball. They say that Darrell Green tires easily, which has become a point of attack for enemy quarterbacks. It'll be interesting to see if Marino works on him again.
Third and 10. Dolphins trying to keep the drive alive. On the blitz, Marino drops it over the middle of Pruitt. He caught this one, and Pruitt dived out to the 37. Great touch by Marino. That was a gutsy throw, too.
Nice catch for a guy that has had catching problems. The drops is evidence before. Pruitt over the middle in traffic. Finding a little more running room, too. Good job with it after he catches it, Tom.
Realization of what
Great camera shot, fellas. Beautiful. Great reaction.
Second and 8 for Miami. Dolphins have done a great job on Dexter Manley getting away from Marino. To the Redskins, 44-yard line. Darrell Green on the tackle, along with Cole, Woodbury, 18-yard gain.
This could be the final assault with about 4:15 left. Here's Clayton. With Woodbury on the coverage.
When he catches that ball, there's 4 defenders in the area. That ball had to be played perfectly.
3:57 to go. Field goal will not do the Dolphins any good. They're down by 5. Marino over the middle again. That's Bruce Hardy. And Hardy to the 31st down. On top of him, Todd Bowles with a 14-yard gain.
Marino's beginning to come on now.
Yeah, but Bruce Hardy would make a great shortstop, wouldn't he? How many balls during the course of this season have you seen him go down and catch and take right out of the dirt like that? Watch him right here, and he always rolls. He makes a fatal mistake right here. He raises up, gives his back to the defender. Thank goodness that free safety is a nice guy.
We've been saying all night what an off night it's been for Marino. 376 yards, 20 out of 45.
Boy, that shows.
You know, he's just like Namath. Quick release, great arm, and has mannerisms like that.
Stratford on the run. Stratford gets 9 to the Redskins' 21-yard line. Keep in mind, this drive is taking up an awful lot of time. It has to pay off for him.
It has to take a lot out of that Redskins defense, too. It's the fourth quarter, and this temperature isn't that hot, but 75 degrees coming from Washington is rather warm, and it's been a physical game, so it's got to take something out of it.
And humidity at 76% of game time. Redskins, of course, want to win this ball game for the home field advantage, but Miami has its life on the line.
Second, real short.
Too much time. Delay a game. Instead of second and inches, they'll have second and 5.
Wow, that hurts. While we have the opportunity, I want to say something about Troy Stratford's dad, Edwin Stratford. He just underwent triple bypass heart surgery a few weeks ago, right around Thanksgiving. And Edwin Stratford and Troy are particularly close, father and son. Tony Nathan, the guy Stratford beat out for the job, helped Troy through the very difficult period when his father was undergoing open heart surgery. Took him through it, helped him get through it. It's a nice human story.
Blitz. Rich Malott on the goal. Blitz and Davenport. Covered by Kaufman. Crowd wanted interference. They won't get it. And Mel Kaufman was right with Davenport. The ball got there a little bit late. ESPN, the Travelers Corporation will present the Travelers NFL Man of the Year Award to the player whose on-field performance is complemented by significant community involvement. This year's nominees from the Redskins, Jay Schrader, the quarterback, and from the Miami Dolphins, the injured safety, Glenn Blackwood.
Here's the look once again on that play. No flag. Questionable calls or non-calls tonight.
Piggybacks allowed.
3rd and 6, 4 wide receivers. Stratford is one of them to the near side. Jensen on the draw. First down.
Gotta like the way
them up that time.
Gotta like the way my man carries the football.
How about that call? Good call.
Ryan Davis made the tackle. Really crossed them up on that one. 1:34 to go. Three-man rush, plenty of time, and Clayton dropped it at the 5. Marino got that one there. Had plenty on that.
Good coverage here. Big hit as well. Should have had it.
Should have had it. I think Marino gunned it, seeing the safety closing in there.
He's had a few drops tonight. 20 out of 47, 376 yards from Marino. 11th play of this drive, and Miami has to get the touchdown.
It wasn't really on the money early in the game.
That's right. A little scary, isn't it? Three-man rush, plenty of time again. Rifles incomplete. Almost picked off. Two Redskins collide with each other. Todd Bowles.
Interception there. The season's over for Miami.
And it looked like he hit Alvin Walton, the other safety.
That had to be one of the most vicious collisions we've seen here tonight.
Yeah. Boy, it's tough when you put your own man out of the game.
Watch the collision here. Really don't get to see the impact.
It's Barry Wilburn.
Well, to be honest with you, I thought it was more of a head-on type thing, but it looked like they sort of spun off each other a little bit there, one going under the other. It wasn't quite as vicious as I thought it was.
Alvin Walton, maybe the best strong safety in the game right now. At 15 tackles against the Giants. 15.
They've hit 2 third-down conversions on this drive after hitting only 2 of 11 earlier in the ballgame.
Miami with 3 timeouts left. So they can make that buck 19 last a long time, that minute 19.
And the Redskins only have 1 left.
There, I think he's about to get up.
Now they're going to get Barry Wilburn up now, and this is the point where you ask him what city he's in, and he says Thursday.
Let me tell you what, it's very difficult from up here, for that matter, even right down on the sideline, to really tell about a collision like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot you don't see. You have to almost be there.
But with Wilburn's injury, does that impact, you think, the coverage? A new guy coming in, even though it's a short pass, 17-yard pass?
Absolutely. You're in Dan Marino's territory right here.
Think he'll try to exploit it?
Oh, absolutely.
And Wilburn up. Good news to see him walking off the field under his own power. Vernon Dean has checked into the ball game, number 32, very versatile defensive back. Used to be a starter for the Redskins. Remember, SportsCenter follows our telecast. Bob Lee and John Saunders. This is the longest Dolphin drive of the game. They've eaten up 5 minutes off of the clock, and they need to score on this one. They are down by 5.
This is the biggest 3rd and 10 this season.
Yep.
Oh, Roy, since you're the defensive coordinator, do you roll your men to help the new corner? Expect Marino to go to the other side? How do you play?
I drop my linebackers back in the secondary right now.
Vernon Dean is out here on Duper to the near side this time. Marino to Jensen. Jensen dives for the first down. It looks like he has it at the 6.
When you need a wide receiver, he's a wide receiver. When you need a tight end, very conscious of where the first down's at, he does that. I like that man.
He can also play quarterback. Wow.
that first down.
Two big possession plays for Jensen, too, in the series.
Roy, they took your advice. They dropped the linebackers off to protect those wideouts, and guess who came up with it short?
Yep.
They were afraid of a touchdown. The Dolphins were thinking first down.
They got it, and it's first and goal from the 6-yard line.
Maybe a play action here, Zon? Roll out, something like that?
That little rollout with Marino's been pretty effective tonight.
Marino has passed for 387 yards in this game. Made some bad passes on the night. Only 21 out of 49. His percentage way down.
There's a man that's mind is going like a computer right now. I promise you.
First and goal from the 6. Duper had.
Again, Marino actually throwing before there was any opening. When he threw that ball, well, there it is. Great reaction time. Almost a gift. But if you check Marino out, he throws this ball when the receiver's back is still to him.
Woodbury actually tipped the ball, it looks like. He was right there. Marino nearly at 400 yards for the night. And more importantly, the numbers, he has put his team ahead 23-21 in a game they have to
7 left.
And remember Schrader's comeback roll. Yep. He's won 9 out of 15 that he trailed going into the fourth quarter. But they only have one timeout left, Mike. That's right. And only a minute 7. What is it I just said about Marino having one of his worst games? I think Shula will take this anytime. I think everyone, you look at Marino when he's hot. Yep. And when he's totally unstoppable. And then you see him, I think you used the phrase earlier, when he's mortal. Yep. And you think he's having a bad game, but compared to the other quarterbacks in the league, he's having a terrific game. For Dan. Jensen slowed him up for Dan, trying to go back the other way. McNeil chased him out of bounds. He was one player away from going 99 yards. I think it took about 4 minutes off the clock, too, that play.
He certainly ran a lot of time off that clock.
Remember, Miami has to win this game and next week and hope the Colts lose to Tampa Bay. First things first, they're up by 2. To 22. One timeout left for the Redskins. You don't think this sounds as loud as yours, Paul?
Right now it does.
Intercepted. Mike Smith had it in his hands and couldn't hold it. Oh, boy. Jacoby moved on the play, and he moved because of the noise.
Yep. Now they couldn't break Schrader. They did get one of the offensive linemen, so that's just as effective.
Number 66.
Schrader's showing a lot of poise under the situation.
Sure is.
Watch the right side of your screen. Left side, I'm sorry, with Jacoby right there. There it is.
Jacoby, four-time Pro Bowler, another Bobby Beathard's free agents out of Louisville. And at the end of the year, they're as good as anybody. Most years during the rest of the year, they're as good as anybody. But so are the Redskins, and this one isn't over. 45 seconds to go. Now the referees will confer.
They're looking down at the clock.
One of the officials has come to the sideline. And now Freddie Wyant will go over and talk to the Redskins sideline, and they may have to reset the stadium clock.
There's the guy in the black gown. From the gang, he's the leader of the bad guys.
That's right. Here's Fred Wyant with the explanation. I hope.
There was no play, a false start.
Clock ran on the last play, but there should have been no time taken off because it was a false start.
Schrader's telling them that it was 15 seconds. Needs to be active clock, right?
That's right. Put 5 back on it to 50. 5 seconds may be very significant before we're done here. And overthrown intended for Sanders. He had single coverage by Lippert Mobley back there. Sanders had a couple of tries. Boy, Schrader's got a gun. He can get it. Did he throw that ball long way?
How many yards in the air was that throw?
That ball was thrown 70. Why single coverage here, though, Tom?
I don't know. I would be scared to death of going to single coverage here.
It's like a punt.
It's almost like they were afraid of something dropped over the middle late, going all the way or something.
70 yards in the air. Wow. Tough to overthrow a guy who's 65 yards downfield. Schrader, 17 out of 34, 240 yards. Now 3rd and 15. Throw to the sideline, incomplete. Didier was out of bounds. Not a lot of debate from Jim. Let's see. There's the knee.
Hey, what looks like single coverage. You notice, though, your two safeties are completely, they're so far downfield that you're just able to roll from side to side.
The Redskins have 2 things to worry about now. It's 4th and 15. They have to get that yardage to keep the drive alive. There's only 32 seconds left, and they only have 1 timeout. But all they need is a field goal. This is the ball game, and Bryant caught it at the 38-yard line. Now they'll take the timeout.
19 seconds.
21 yards. They do take the top. Now this brings up some interesting possibilities. This is Ali Haji Sheikh. He can kick it a long way, but the guy who can kick it a mile is Steve Cox. Cox is one of the few guys around that would have a chance ever to break Tom Dempsey's record for the longest field goal. What a play. What a pass and a catch. Clutch play. Take the timeout. Now the Redskins have none left and only 19 seconds to go. To give Cox a chance, he would have a shot at 55, 60 yards. He is that strong as a straightaway kicker. But they would still have to get down to the Miami 40-yard line. 35. Still a long way away with 19 seconds left. You see he has picked 4, made 4 over 50. He does have a cannon for a leg. Our statistician Mark Frederickson points out he's not even warming up. Doesn't need it. But they have to get there first. Schrader over the middle, complete to Clark at midfield. Clock running. With 2 seconds left. That is one of the new rules this year. You can pick it up, throw it straight down at the ground, and it's not intentional grounding because you're doing it specifically to stop the clock. Oh, it's Hail Mary time again.
Asking about single coverage before. I don't think that was single coverage. What happens is the corners have those guys deep and outside.
Will come on to try a 67-yard field goal. Are you watching Tom Dempsey? He has a 10-mile-an-hour wind behind him. 10-mile-an-hour wind behind him. And it's short. Cox goes for the miracle, comes up short, and the Miami Dolphins have stayed alive against the Redskins, winning at 23-21. Some finish, huh? Watch Don's reaction. There it is. The Dolphins go to 8-6, and it will all come down to trying to beat New England next week and hoping Indianapolis loses. If that happens, they win the AFC East and will go to the playoffs. The Redskins already in it, but their chances for the home field advantage hurt tonight as they lose it. I'd like to thank Larry Zonka, our guest analyst tonight. Fun to be with you again. Our final score again for Miami, the Dolphins 23, the Redskins 21. Larry Zonka and Roy Firestone, this is Mike Patrick. Good night from Miami. Stay tuned for the Sports Center.
Stratford became only the second Miami player to lead the team in rushing and receiving in the same season. He won the affection of the fans and was the heart of the running attack, which also featured fullbacks Woody Bennett and Ron Davenport, number 30. Lorenzo Hampton was the team's second leading rusher. In 1987, the Miami ground game approached Shula's expectations for a more balanced offensive attack.
You have to have some kind of a running game, but you get caught in that dilemma that you can't spend too much time with a running game because you're taking the ball out of Marino's hand.
He's a fighter. He might go out one series and throw an interception, okay? And he'll come right back and throw a touchdown. And that's probably the thing that really sticks out in my mind that makes him one of the elite quarterbacks in the league. He doesn't crack. You know, he doesn't break. He might crack a little bit. You might beat him here, but I think he'll win the war.
Wars are won in the trenches, and Marino's success was tied to his impenetrable wall of blockers. The anchor was six-time Pro Bowl center Dwight Stevenson, along with guards Roy Foster and Tom Toth, tackles John Giesler and Ronnie Lee, reliable backup Jeff Dellenbach, and promising rookies Chris Conlon and Mark Dennis. The line provided Marino with the league's finest pass protection. With the surge of the ground attack, the line proved to be equally adept at run blocking, bursting open holes for Troy Stratford and company. Despite an injury to Dwight Stevenson, who is expected back early next year, the offensive line surrendered only 13 sacks, the fewest allowed for a league record 6th consecutive season. Another reason the NFL's all-time leading passer is sacked so infrequently is due to his quick trigger, the fastest release in the game.
There are a lot of quarterbacks, if you can just get in their face and just put pressure on them and just get a hit on them or something like that, then you're doing your job. Against Marino, that's not enough.
Yet a quarterback is only as good as his supporting cast.
With a quarterback like Marino, you try to surround him with as many offensive weapons as you can possibly find, as receivers, as running backs that can catch the football, as a tight end that can get downfield and catch the football. And that's going to make Marino that much more effective.
Tight ends Bruce Hardy, Dan Johnson, and all-purpose backup Jim Jensen are short-yardage specialists who complement receivers like James Pruitt, number 82. Fred Banks, number 86, was a capable backup at wideout. Marino's prime targets remain the Marx brothers, arguably the finest receiving tandem in the game. Mark Duper raced for a team-high 8 touchdowns, while his counterpart was one behind with 7. But Clayton had the better year in terms of yardage and consistency. The dynamic passing attack of the Miami Dolphins. It all starts with Dan Marino, the most electrifying performer in the NFL today. The 1987 season hit rock bottom in Buffalo as the Dolphins were humiliated 27-0. The lone bright spot was provided by punter Reggie Roby, who nailed a team record 77-yard punt, tied for the season's longest. Despite missing several games with injuries, Roby averaged over 42 yards a punt. Kicker Fuad Reves finished as the team's leading scorer and was perfect from inside the 40-yard line. Special teams coach Mike Westhoff, along with strength and conditioning assistant Junior Wade, relied on bomb squad specialists such as Renee Thompson, Clifford Hobley, and Woody Bennett, number 34. Rookie Rick Graff made his impact on special teams before becoming a starter at linebacker in the 13th week of the season against the Jets. Coincidentally, that game against division rival New York marked the beginning of a 3-game stretch in which Miami would play its best ball of the season. Under the lights on Monday night, Miami put on a primetime spectacle worthy of an Emmy, and the leading man was Troy Stratford, who notched his 3rd 100-yard game. Brilliant runs are expected of Stratford, but a bootleg by Marino is a rare sight.
Marino, play fakes, he's going to run it in for a touchdown. Today, Dan Marino runs. What's next?
What's next, unfortunately for the Jets, was a resurgence of the Dolphin defense, led by Paul Langford's timely interception. The pass rush came alive in this 37-28 victory, and John Bosa's penchant for the big play on defense carried over the following week in Philadelphia, as the Dolphins recorded 4 sacks for the 2nd straight game. A dynamic offense is what the fans expect to see from Miami, and Dan Marino did not disappoint, throwing a trio of touchdown passes, including 2 to Mark Clayton, as the Dolphins dominated in their most impressive win of the season, 28-10.
Backs are split. Marino wants to throw it. Goes a lob pass. Clayton. He's got it. Did he get in? He did for a touchdown.
Mark Clayton was the hero in Philadelphia, but the next week against Washington, it would take everything Dan Marino could muster to beat the future world champions. This time, his favorite target was the other Mark Duper, who broke out of his receiving slump with a vengeance. Marino threw for a season-best 393 yards, 170 of which went to Duper. But their heroics couldn't prevent Washington from taking the lead late in the game. Twice before, the Dolphins had to rally, and they turned to Mark Duper. They called on him once more, with victory on the line.
Marino in the shotgun, baits the throw, goes for the corner of the end zone. It is caught! Oh! For a touchdown by Mark Duper. What a catch! What a play! Mark Duper, our offensive player of the game.
With victory in hand against Washington, uncontained joy swept through Joe Robbie Stadium. In 1987, the Dolphins alternated between unmatched excellence and unsettling inconsistency. But Don Shula's leadership and ability to blend seasoned veterans with upstart youngsters gives the Dolphins the foundation for a bright future.
Thank you.